Good morning, good morning. It's time to cover some Dissidia Final Fantasy NT news on Reddit, which isn't a very reputable source, but we're going to cover it anyway. What's good, my fellow peasants? How you all doing? So this is Reddit. Now, I know some of you are going to click away, but before you do, this is a reputable interview and it has some exceptionally juicy details. So they held a TGS interview where people could post their questions on Reddit, and then Hazama and Kajirika, the kind of main two guys on Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, they chose the questions that they want to answer. And I'll just say that this Reddit has been doing this a lot. They've really been pushing the Final Fantasy threads. They've even approached me 3 times. They've approached FF Union. I think they've approached other channels, probably Dean Weiss, Gamers Joint, etc. Yeah, let's get into it. Shout out to Soken, who put this page up. Also shout out to this beautiful fellow peasants of ours, Kim Neeson. It was actually Kim's question that got answered, and it was the one regarding Zack Fair. They came to me absolutely buzzing, absolutely hyped off their tits, because as the thumbnail is probably given away, Zack Fair has kind of been soft confirmed for Dissidia NT. But let's jump into the questions. We've got loads to go through. First up, do they plan to add specific battle intros depending on the opponent, like in Duodecim? It really was a nice thing. I liked the references and that time for your lesson schoolboy, to which Kajirika says, we don't have those kinds of introductions included for Dissidia Final Fantasy NT because this is a team-based battle game this time. You've got a number of different patterns and variations where the characters will have varying dialogues with their teammates and foes. Yeah, so no specific intros, but different dialogue. I still don't know whether this is up in the air. I did have this shared to me that supposedly, depending on what characters are in the lineup, their facial expressions will change. So I said this before, Terra will put on an uncomfortable looking expression compared to a usual cheery, sunny one if Kefka is on the other team. I heard that. I think that came from a Dissidia live stream, so I think that's pretty reputable. Anyway, as they've stated previously, we will unlock new cutscenes the more we play in any type of mode. What I'm wondering is, will we have different cutscenes depending on the characters we play as, similar to the routes in previous Dissidia games, or will we have a single story for all characters? To which Hazama answers, the game actually has one massive ongoing story, but that's being told through the cutscenes, and you'll unlock the specific story arc during your playtime. But don't worry about the volume of content. You'll be able to see through this method because there are over 60 minutes of cutscenes in the game to ensure that you'll have a great time regardless of which character you use. So wow, was not expecting them to actually put a time on it. 60 minutes of cutscenes, over 6, so only an hour. Now, that's kind of what my expectation has been. I think that's what everyone's expectation needs to be for the story. They keep saying there's going to be some, but it's just going to be a thin tether. Hopefully it's good. No, that 60 minutes is immersive. It's better than none. It's not going to be a full RPG with an actual plot, an actual beginning, middle, and end, an actual concurrent story running through it. But no, 60 minutes. Hopefully that's enough to bring in some get us to feel some of the characters, hear some of the voice acting, see their personalities actually come through. But that is actually pretty short. 60 minutes is not a hell of a lot whatsoever. So moving on to the next one. At the moment, Japanese players have access to the site, the Sanctorium, when it comes to changing their setup, X skills, costumes, playlist teams, etc., as well as obtaining simple information, win rates, popularity, charts, etc. Are these features planned to be included in the console port, or will we have other options to do so? Now, this is something I've been worried about since day one. Now, how much are they going to give the West feedback? So things like win rates, play percentages, loss rates, even just team composition percentages, summon percentages, KDA ratios, or even just bracket percentiles, rank percentiles. Would we be getting all of that coming to the West? I could really imagine that's something they was going to neglect, but Kajirika says the Sanctorium itself was something done specifically for the arcade version, but for the console version we plan on including everything that is available in the Sanctorium in one form or another. Yes, that's good. I'm glad. So next question. Will there be a spectator mode for online player matches? It's not 100% completely free mode where you'll be able to watch any battles across the world, but we've actually got a custom lobby system that's currently in development to which will allow all players in that same lobby to watch each other's matches at the same time. Yes. Yesums McGee. Now, this was something I was super concerned about. Because so if anyone doesn't know, Dissidia Navisha tournaments, I'm setting up a Dissidia page so we can compete, we can play, and this was one thing that I've been super concerned about, because if there wasn't a mode to be able to spectate, I couldn't record, we couldn't actually have the tournaments, I would have been up shit creek. So the fact that you can't just view any strangers across the world, but there is a friends lobby, so we'll be able to view each other's games, that's perfect. That is a lifesaver, thank God. So next question. Do the character quests differ greatly between Eastern and Western audiences? If so, who are the most commonly requested in both regions? To which Hizama puts, we haven't really noticed a difference in popularity of characters in different regions around the world, but what we have noticed is that there are big fan groups for each of the individual Final Fantasy titles, so we want to ensure that the heroes and villains from those respective titles are represented in Dissidia. As a policy, we're aiming to include all the characters from the original Dissidia games. There we go, you heard it there. So, original Dissidia games, they're going to have all of them in. That's huge! That's huge. That puts Yuna, that throws Yuna in, that throws Renault in, that throws Tifa in. Hugh what, mate? Hugh what, Jeff? Oh my God, my sister's calling. No. Hello? So you got into an argument with what woman at work? If she's being a rude bitch and saying you didn't do something when you did.
2 hours later.
Alright, toodaloo. Bye-bye. What a load of old shit. Sister calling me to vent about some bitch. The person said you didn't email me, but she did, and then she said don't speak to me like Right, let's get back to it. So where are we? Oh yes, spectator modes for online player matches. Spanky doodle, love it. So next question, will PS4 players be able to search and choose opponents by region? Seeing as that would probably help minimize lag, will PS4 players be able to form a team with their PSN friends and then go into matchmaking and challenge other random people? Again, all really important questions for our tournaments, or anyone who wants to play tournaments with their friends, or will friends only be able to play with each other? Kajirika says, in the beta that was released, we had matchmaking. That was done all around the world, but we'll be refining that for the final release of the game. I mean, I was going to say, I couldn't remember that there was any, you couldn't do any matchmaking. What's wrong with me? I keep saying matchmaking. You know what's on my mind, guys? Yeah, when we played the beta, you couldn't match up with anyone you wanted to. It's totally random. Additionally, we'll definitely be creating a mode to allow you to match together with your friends to form parties. Hell yeah! It will allow for parties of 2 or 3, so you won't be required to have a full party to use the option. Spot on. So next part, who has been the hardest character to balance so far? Soken, jokingly all of them. So Soken's the guy who wrote the post. Kajirika says that's exactly right. All of the characters, because you've really got to think of the overall balance. There's a fine balance between making changes to one character and determining the effects of those changes across all the other characters in the game. So when we aim to include all the characters from the games, it makes our job more difficult to find that perfect balance. Now, I'm actually going to quickly skip over this Zack bit, close your eyes. I'm going to quickly skip over to one other question. This one right here. Upon release, how much time is estimated between each character release, if not in bundles? Hazama says the current schedule in the arcade version in Japan is to have a new character release every 2 months. For the console version, we're also envisioning a similar timing for its character releases. Now that's interesting because so far we've been having it monthly. So leading up to the release, it's been monthly. After the release, it's going to be every 2 months. Now, that seems like a long time, 2 months, but I like that it's long. Now, the reason I say it's insanely long is because, like I said, they want to get 50 plus characters in this game. Considering we're already at, I think it's, don't quote me on this, between sort of 26 and 30. I think that's what we're around about now. That means with 2 or 1 every 2 months, that's only going to be 6 characters a year. Now, that's actually good. I like that. That is really nice pace. I know that seems not much, so it could end up taking them something like 2 or 3 years to get to their maximum roster. Really good, because I've been scared about the roster getting too big, or indeed them releasing characters too quickly, because when you release characters too quickly, you don't get as much time to test them, to beta them, to think out their design, think out their mechanics, and there's so many issues in MOBAs when the roster gets too big. League of Legends is hugely suffering under the weight of this. It's got something insane like 100+ characters now, and it's not just insane for no balancing issues, it's also insane to learn, and you really do have to learn. Not necessarily because you're going to play all 100, but you still need to learn every character because people are going to be fighting you with them. So for you to be able to survive, you're going to have to know every character, and trying to step into something like League where the roster's got way too bloated way too quickly it's just absolutely it's daunting. It's exceptionally daunting, and that the reason why I skipped over it is because when they're also talking about character balances, the recent trailer Golbez, I didn't do a reaction to him, but watching his, I was kind of a bit put off because all of his mechanics, especially Golbez, I could very clearly see they were picked from other characters. He really was, out of all of them, because we've had characters share certain abilities, or certain abilities work very similar, but Golbez, more than anyone, he is just a conglomeration about 5 different characters. Now, I don't know the names. Who the hell does know the names of the abilities in Dissidia? I don't think anyone does, but I know he has Cecil's sort of proxy cannon things. He has a lot of Shantoto in there. He even had a bit of Firion in there, and there was even Warrior of Light in there. No, certain abilities that you can just see is just picked, and I noticed that they do this a lot when they really don't want to unsettle their balance. A lot of MOBA games or fighting games in general, and I keep saying MOBAs and comparing it when I probably shouldn't, but they end up like picking abilities that are already in because they know they won't throw off the balance, and that's really when it gets tacky and lazy in my opinion. So I like that they're going to take their time with the characters. I feel they are rushing it, and that's why we might get characters who aren't really that ingenuitive or unique. Fantastic example was in Overwatch, Orisa. Anyone who knows Orisa, when she came out, she was just a bloody mishmash of Zarya mixed with a bit of Reinhardt, mixed with a bit of Soldier, and even the new character that's coming out into Overwatch, that's just Symmetra Reaper. It's just Symmetra Reaper mixed in with a bit of Mercy. So you know what I'm saying, guys? I like it to be truly ingenuitive, so the fact that they're going to take their time with the roster, good. Take even longer than 2 months. I really don't give a goddamn. But let's get to the question that we've all been waiting for. Here it is. So from Manzakimi, our fellow peasant, because I've been saying I want Zack Fair in this game, but I'm scared he might be too similar to Cloud, so they might just kind of like throw on a Zack Fair skin for Cloud, which would be pretty lame considering Zack, he does have his own fan base, he has his own fans, his own popularity, his game, he deserves that slot, and the Kimi nailed it perfectly. So Kajirika stated that popularity is the most important factor for a character to be considered. Zack Fair has a lot of fans. He even won an official character popularity poll back in 2012, and there's still a high demand for him to this day. So what are the chances he will be added to the roster? To which Kajirika very excitingly says, I can truly appreciate where this question is coming from because I really understand the community's excitement to see Zack. Funny fact, the Japanese voice actor who plays Zack even came up to me and said he wants to appear in the game. So I think we'll have to get around to him eventually. We will have to get round to him eventually. There's no intention to deliberately exclude Zack at all. As we mentioned before, our first priority is to ensure that there's a fine balance between all the Final Fantasy titles that are presented in the game before we start to add multiple characters from one specific title. Hazama also answers it, but he just flip-flops. We're going to introduce more characters, blah, blah, blah. But that's a damn dude our day. The voice actor says he wants to do it. We're definitely going to get to him eventually, or we will. They ain't excluding him. They know his popularity. Yes. Zack Fair, that is about as soft a confirmation as you can get. So that's soft confirmation. It ain't hard, it's soft, giggity. And I'm excited for that. So Zack Fair, Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, pretty likely. So let's finish this off. Will Spiritas and Materia be playable? There aren't currently any plans to make them playable, but with their distinctive weapons and themes such as magic versus machinery, there are potentially some interesting things that we could do if we ever get round to it. Next question, will characters see new additions that aren't in the arcades as of yet, as new HP attacks and weapon costumes? Jerica says, our plan is to have the console and arcade version of the game evolve together in parallel. So we currently don't have any plan to create console exclusive elements. I'm happy with that, because for as much as we would, as arcade people would be pissed off if there's console exclusives, we would be pissed off if there are arcade exclusives. I will be majorly pissed if only the arcades keep getting certain skins and weapons. So I think it's good that they just keep the arcade and console on the same level. I mean, I'm even starting to get pissed off because of this. So for anyone who hasn't seen this, this was... This was lols. Square Enix, they're planning to hold some big tournaments with some pro gamers, and they're going to be able to get some fans are going to be able to get into the tournament, but you're only going to be able to get in if you buy the Steelbook edition or from, where is it, Amazon Prime. Yeah, Amazon Prime. Now, this really pissed me off because I've got the Ultimate Collector's Edition, and it's the same as Final Fantasy 15. I paid 180 quid for that bitch. The Ultimate Collector's Edition should be just that, the Ultimate Collector's Edition. I mean, with Final Fantasy 15, it didn't come with King's Knight, it didn't come with King's Tale, not that I think anyone really gave a shit. It didn't even come with the Season Pass, whereas I think it was either the Amazon Prime, it had all of these features, it had the best weapons, the best cars. I think the one from GameStop, it had the King's Knight or King's Tale game. Then there were ones that did have the Season Pass, and it ended up being the case the Ultimate Collector's Edition was the inferior version, and now it seems like it's happening again, but this trailer was so funny. Are you ready for this, guys? Hold on to your butts. Let's watch it.
Champions from the Final Fantasy franchise are coming together for the ultimate.
Wait until you hear what they've named to their tournament.
Awesome prizes. Square Enix is teaming up with Amazon to throw the tournament of the century. The Dissidia Final Fantasy NT Fantasy Finals. We're gathering some of the biggest streamers in fighting for a battle royale.
Say it again. What was that?
To the Dissidia Final Fantasy NT Fantasy Finals tournament on
There it is.
17th.
Dissidia Final Fantasy
legendary heroes will battle it out for glory.
What is it?
Pick a perfect bracket and you could win a Final Fantasy Dissidia NT arcade cabinet or one of these other awesome prizes.
Ooh, an actual cabinet.
Order today on Amazon and join the fight.
Oh man, I don't know where I'd fit that in my room, my house.
Final Fantasy NT available on January 30th, 2018.
All right, there you go, guys. Dissidia Final Fantasy NT Fantasy Finals trailer. Try saying that 3 times. Dissidia Final Fantasy NT Fantasy Finals. Dissidia NT Final Fantasy Finals. Dissidia Fantasy Finals and Fantasy. Dissidia Fantasy Finals NT Fantasy Finals. This is the most ridiculous name I have ever heard. Alright, here we go. Let's finish this off though. So, yeah, no exclusive elements on arcade. Upon release, how much time is estimated between each character's release? Oh yeah, we've already done that one. So, will we be able to play friends in ranked matches? For ranked battles, we have to ensure that there's an equal playing field for all players, so you won't be able to pick specific opponents. Instead, you'll be playing against others that the game has selected for you that are around the same rank. Spot on. But if you wanted to play against your friends, you'll be able to use the custom lobby to play against them in any way you want. So that's standard. Of course, you can't decide who you rank against in ranked games. That would be so easy to abuse. You would just get your mate to make a proxy account, just kick his ass until you're in the top 0.1% percentile. So yeah, standard. Finally, I've personally seen Hazama, oh no, 2 more, San showcase some high-level gameplay at EVO with a wide variety of characters. So I'm wondering, who are your favourite characters to play? Azama says, I really like Yoshtola from 14. She's generally a marksman, which means she's going to keep a great distance from her opponents. When it comes to close quarters melee, however, she's got abilities to set traps, so I really like the dynamic of multiple playstyles. Man, Hazama does have some skills. He has some skills that kills on wheels, and yes, Yoshtola. I was kind of maining her towards the end of the beta. Zama is actually damn good at his own game. So Kajirika, I feel like I'm always changing characters when asked this, but recently I've been really enjoying Ultimecia, who was recently introduced in the arcades, and she has a fantastic Adia skin. She has an Adia Kramer skin, you know, the black, you know, the ooh, nice spicy little brisket of an outfit. Man, Adia Kramer. Adia Kramer. Cool me down, senpai. She's also a marksman type character. She's got opponents with her battles. Oh, jisms on my face. But she's incredibly weak in close quarters combat. So you really have to think about battlefield awareness the entire time to avoid those situations. And the final question. Do you have any final words for the community? I can definitely say that we have a very interesting, exciting game created in Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, but it's so good that I don't think you'll need me to say it for you to understand. I'm really looking forward to seeing the community getting their hands on the title and joining you on the battlefield soon. Well, there it is, guys. One of the most exciting, well fleshed out interviews we have had. We've got everything there, from the explanation of what's happening in the tournaments, the spectatorships, the modes, the skins, a bit of an exciting teaser for Zack Fair. And reading all of this, it's just made me feel so much more. There was so much unknown, there were so many uncertainties. I actually think this interview has just, no, not most of my uncertainties out the ballpark. So the fact that I've already got the page in development, I mean, it's an expensive ass project, but I really hope you guys can get on board with it. I'll reel it out once it's ready and available. If anyone wants to get in, we're going to have forums, we're going to have tournaments. It's basically going to be a really nice, or hopefully very nicely designed page where you can just take it, make it yours, we can run with it, and we can have a damn good time. But leaving you guys off, or should I say Eric from Square Enix, he left us off with this. Brave Exvius fan art done with something we might see as familiar. Yes, that is sexy. That is sexy. Oh boy, guys, I can't wait until January the 30th. So there it is. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until the next video. Goodbye.